Yes. Ashe, may the ancestors with us be here on this journey tonight. Yeah. We got Yafeuh Balogun in the house. God body. Yeah. No further ado, no further ado, no further ado. Hey, much love and gratitude to all the people. What's up, Yafeuh? How you doing, King?
I appreciate you, brother. I'm feeling good, brother.
God body. God body. All right, so first off, let me say, um, I got introduced to my brother right here. I came from Georgia, and hey, I seen a group of fellas like at a young, like they young men, but they already kind of leading the next generation. They having children out working out, they doing pull-ups, they feed people in the community. A young guy named DJ, he got shot in North Dallas. Pull up to the event. These guys here, they kind of uniform. They you can see that they down with getting things organized and getting them done and getting them done. And Yafeuh, he stuck out to me from the beginning. He seemed like one of the solid people. No matter what happened, he was gonna be there. Like, um, yeah, man. And I've seen steadfast over the years and years. No matter what happened, Johnny on the spot. This guy happens to be there. So I think as far as the groundwork to building up to the high work, this is definitely somebody you would definitely want to have with you. And I want to be here for the rest of the world to make sure that they give Yafeuh Balogun his flowers while he is here. Yes, sir.
Appreciate that, brother.
Yes,
Appreciate
sir.
that.
God body. God body. Yeah, what's up, King? So how you doing today?
Brother, I feel good. I'm feel at ease, and and at the same time, I have a certain level of comfort. So with today being a Sunday, as we were saying earlier, we take this day of time to relax, to reflect, and get our mind and body prepared for the upcoming responsibilities that we have to do. So I'm at peace today, brother.
Yeah, God body. God body. First say your peace. Hey, real talk, man. So a big part of the organization you created, um, y'all dealt with the young people.
Hmm.
A lot of the people look at the disconnect we have versus our young people. And I
Hmm.
seen y'all as the young people struggle to get support from the community.
Right.
Struggle to get people's attention on your goals or what you was trying. So when you see the next generation, um, cartoons has weird things in it.
Hmm.
Music is leading them one way. All these different ways. The opposition, like how do you be an influence in today's day to show to put that courageous energy they have? Hey, bro,
Hmm.
because they very courageous. How do we
Hmm.
guide that energy the correct direction?
Well, I think first and foremost, we have to start at our homes. We have to be consistent with our own kids. We have to be positive examples and show our own children a certain way, and hope that they continue to follow that path of positivity. So that's the first thing I would say. It's about being leaders within our home, man or woman, etc. It's about being that person. Then second to that is about being an example to your community. And so I had the fortunate you know opportunity. We had an excellent father and mother. My father, who was in the Nation of Islam in the late 60s, here in Dallas, Texas, Mosque number 48. My mother being MGT, my aunts being MGT, my uncles, etc. So I had that type of experience, and that's kind of what in my household has kind of created who I am. And so when I was a child, I remember one particular situation where my I was sweeping um my our yard, because it was trash or whatnot. And my daddy told me, "Well, go sweep the other yard." And it was another neighbor's yard down the street. And I asked him, "Why should I have to sweep that yard too when it's just primarily concerned about our yard. And he said, we have to take care of our community. So it's these types of examples that we have to put into our children so that they can see the value. And hopefully we can do that and move forward to teach them some other things, such as how to buy houses, how to have good credit, how to be able to function in today's society, so then when they become adults, that they can continue that cycle and we can kill all the negativity going forward.
Man, you hit a great point. A great point. A lot of people, this is where men like yourself, like myself, is so important pillars of our community.
Hmm.
When the man absence leaves, that form of structure leaves with that man.
Right.
Women want to make sure that they kids had everything that they didn't have.
Hmm.
That men want to make sure that they kids develop they mentality and structure them as a point where they be what they never knew that they could be. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? It's different having something, but it's another difference to manifest it, to be
Right.
able to continuously. You might rake yards for a living if you needed to. If you needed to, we live on a fiat currency. We live on
Hmm.
a fiat currency. So therefore, we could say that you exchange energy, money, and energy is an exchange. You could say that it's used as a fair exchange. In a fair world, that would be how it is. We know it's not like that, but at the same time, in between time, it looks like things are falling where they at right now. They falling. Like it's a reset that's taking place. But with that reset, we are engaging in a higher frequency of me. The sun is hotter. Whatever is going on, we are getting different gifts that will trickle down that have been left. It's certain clues that you left for yourself that you starting to
Hmm.
find, and things are starting to seem a certain way. It's even why
Right.
I reached out to you. I say, man, this brother has been like, yeah, bro, you a very important part of the city. Like anybody out there that's no, hey, bro, I've seen you do the groundwork. There's nobody that could deny that or ever take that away from you and what you have been a part of here.
Hmm.
Which brings me also to the chief. I
Hmm.
know he's going through his legal situation.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, but man, you guys were notified for a lot, but he was actually looked at as one. I won't even give credit to what someone else looked at him as, but he has been a big part of establishing Gorilla Mainframe with you, man.
Hmm.
Y'all did a whole lot. So let's talk about the chief, man, and what's going on with him and what we can do also to assist and help. By the way, chief, man, if there's any way that you ever hear this, big up, God. Like you definitely are not forgot about. You are a big, big, big part, a big, big, big part of the people knowing in Dallas. You're a big part of the reason why they know. Yeah, now go ahead, y'all fool, man. I know you got a lot to say about the chief.
Right. 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 I just wanted to, if I could, I want to see if I could share my screen while I talk about him. Is that possible?
Let me
Let me see if
see.
I.
Let me screen share. I'm just gonna rescreen. Dang.
Don't worry.
Nah.
Don't
You
worry
know
about
what?
it. Don't worry about
Yeah, yeah,
it.
yeah. It's up.
Yeah, I got a lot going on this one anyway. So yeah. So I want to talk about Chief Rakim Balogun, otherwise known as Christopher Daniels. Just to kind of put some humanity on a person, because oftentimes we talk about people in such an abstract way. Um, Initially, he was, of course, Christopher Daniels. He went to Kimball High School, played for the wrestling team. Eventually, graduated high school, of course, Kimball. For those who are in Dallas and are familiar with Kimball High School, that's the neighborhood that he comes out of, and people that he is very familiar with. And of course, when he graduated high school, he later went to the Marine Corps. Um, and had his experiences as other veterans have in the Marine Corps or in the Army or in the Navy. His experience probably wasn't as much as the greatest experience because, as some others have experienced, he eventually had some issues with officers within Marines, and ultimately it led to his, him leaving the Marine Corps. That experience, of course, had played an impact upon him, and that began to formulate, if you will, his consciousness, his political consciousness. Oftentimes, you and I, or people in general, have a sort of a situation that occurs in life that prompts them to look deeper, further within themselves to find answers that they didn't know that were there, or questions that they didn't know were there. And so that was his process. To make a long story short, in December 12th, 2017, Rakim, of course, was arrested by the FBI and the ATF, etc., and charged, you know, in the sense of in connection with his Facebook posts. They use his Facebook post as a way to sort of attack whom he was, and his image and whatnot. I, of course, at one particular time was traveling with him. I would say a few weeks earlier, and we noticed, because it was very difficult for us to board airplanes at DFW National Airport. We noticed that we weren't able to board, and after several attempts, we had to give up and had to leave and whatnot. And then later on,
Oh,
he was
brother,
able.
hold on, stop, stop. Let's go to that.
I'm going
Why
deep.
was
I'm sorry.
Yeah, nah, you is. But we gotta get to that. We gotta get to that. We
All
gotta get
right,
to
all
that.
right, all right,
So we can have to overstand real talk. All
all
right,
right.
bro.
I'm
Why
gonna tell
would
you the
they
whole
not want?
story.
Yeah, why would they not want y'all to board the airplane? Like, what type of problem y'all run into? Like, what happened with
Uh, so first of all, we was attempting to kind of start a tour. You know, some people make speaker tours or whatnot,
it?
and so our whole thing was we was going to combine the speaking part with the training part. You know, once we got locally, and so we had a brother who volunteered to fly us into Detroit. And we had a whole event set up there. It was myself, Rakim Balogun, and Josh Askari, connected with New Era Chicago. And so we were all making our way to Detroit. To make a long story short, on my end of it, um, me and Rakim, we connected, went to DFW Airport. Um, we didn't real To make a long story short, we didn't realize that they had us on, I won't say a no fly list, because that's not what it
Mm,
is, but they had us on the list to where they have to take extreme precaution. So what I mean by that is if I were to go to the airport because I'm on this list, or Rakim is on this list, they make sure that they pull us out of a line, and they put us in a separate line, and they check us multiple times. So they they may check us initially going through the first check. They're gonna check us a second time, and then they're gonna check us again as we board the plane. And what I
mm,
mean is they're gonna search our body, and they more or less are gonna search our bags and things of that nature. We didn't realize we was under this type of
yeah, yeah,
observation, if you will.
yeah.
And so, uh, being that happened, I wasn't initially able to board my flight that first night. Rakim ultimately was able to board his flight the second night, and
Mm,
so when he got to Detroit, keep in mind the other brother was coming from Chicago, Josh Askari.
yeah,
He was riding. What do you call it, Greyhound, if you will, to Detroit, and he had some issues with him that occurred, that he had to go through some surgery some type of way on the bus. So we just all three of us kind of had this sort of experience, but I think predominantly, I think what got us, or what target specifically Rakim, to go back to 2017. It's interesting that folks are talking about Alex Jones, or Alex Jones has been in the news lately because of the suit that the families of the victims of the kids, etc., had brought against him. And I
yeah.
think he right now he had a judgment of $47 million, something like that, that he has to pay back to those families. Uh,
Mm,
we were being monitored for 2 years by a special agent, Kaylee, out of Dallas, Texas, field agent. And so that's
mm,
kind of what started it for Rakim specifically. Now they focused on Rakim predominantly because, as I mentioned just a moment ago, because of his training, and for the most part, he was the primary individual that had been training us. And when I mean training us, I'm just talking about exercise, and I'm just talking about martial arts,
yeah,
hand in hand. I'm not talking about anything just too extravagant, but even
yeah,
even they use that coupled with a post that he made um, uh, much later as a
So,
means
so,
to detain and arrest him.
so now I got a big question, right?
Okay.
So yeah, so in the military, people train people, right?
Right.
What is wrong with people being able to defend themselves? All right, so you see some people. I'm
Hmm.
definitely not making this a color battle, a color battle, because there's good people and there's bad people in
Right.
all different type forms of fashion. But
Right.
however we look at this, what is it that doesn't want you to, it has to be something, because you're telling me now that because you can exercise,
Hmm.
you can defend yourself,
Hmm.
you need to be looked at and put under a microscope because you're teaching other people to be able to defend themselves and take care of themselves no matter what too as well. I mean, that's pretty crazy predicament. Let's make it look like exactly what it is. Like, somebody got to be there to tell it what it is. Like, I do look at you like you would be a valuable person to go get information if you're a young person from. Say, hey, yeah, I took these steps. These are the pitfalls. These are the things that could happen. Because even in between the story you just said about Detroit, that also says that there's somebody who said, hey, I see what you're doing. I'm way out here in Detroit. Come out here, man. I need y'all to come out here. Come out here for this or this or that. So there does say when you start taking them steps forward, to any young person, to any person, when you start taking them steps forward, the Most High, the Spirit is going to lead you or lead somebody to you to help you every way. Every time you think it's over with, somebody else gonna pop up and show you that, hey, now it's just the beginning. Like, you still walking, you still moving. So make sure
Right.
that y'all learning and knowing more every day, bro. But yeah, that's cool on the airport. I don't want to break off too much of your story, but I do want to make sure that the audience has it in perspective. A
Mm.
lot of the steps that y'all went through, like a lot of the, I want people to know, because this needs to be like from a human standpoint. These is real brothers that you really know, and they go through these situations. They've been trained, and you just showing a person how to exercise, get their body right. The
Right.
same thing that I personally seen with y'all. Not only me, I was teaching. He was teaching kids. Like, this ain't. Yeah, this is not the mind state or whatever that is ever been portrayed on the internet or any of these stories. It's not none of this. Bro, I wish I was in the mind state back then that I am now. It would have been different. But I still had the spirit depart to where I seen, dang, this is the only thing that could break these brothers up from being what it is. Like, women is the only thing that can do that. It's boom. You see, like, hey, you know what I'm saying? But it's crazy. So on top of that, bro, we're gonna stay where it's at now. Y'all went to the airport to go to Detroit, and you liking that, and you said that was something similar to something that y'all went. You kind of lined up the FBI raid to the
Hmm.
stuff to being in Detroit. What did that line up? What made you think about it like that?
Um, because after an arrest is made, and of course, discovery in the legal process, you always want to do discovery, or an attorney does the discovery to find out what the other side has. And because Rakim's attorney did discovery, we were able to find out that the FBI had been monitoring him very closely for 2 years since March 16th, 2015. And that's when we had participated in a demonstration in Austin, Texas, in South by Southwest. And what that ultimately was about was taking a stand against police brutality, but also promoting the rights for Black people, if you will, to be able to protect themselves through arms or whatnot. So that's what the basis were. But that's kind of where it started for Rakim.
Hey, bro,
uh,
when you said black people, do black people have an identity? I don't mean to go everywhere and bounce around, but
mhm.
calling a group of people of color, is that truly a culture or an identity?
Well, I tell you, I feel like this with it. If you say black people, you say more, or some people say Israelite, uh, all types of names, African. I'm speaking in terms of, when I say it, I'm speaking in terms of something that majority of our people can relate to. So when I say black people, I'm just talking. Speaking the common language of the other individual. So
Yeah.
obviously there may be some deeper meanings to it, maybe some
Yeah,
different political reasons to it. I hear some
yeah.
people say there's not a black land, so how could it be black people, etc. So I've heard all types of things. So
Got
go ahead.
got got something better. Got something better. Got something better.
Yeah.
Just off the roof. And I want to stay where we at, but I just want to
Okay.
make fun with it a little bit, a little bit.
Okay. Okay.
Did slavery happen in America the way it was told?
I
Yeah. Or did slavery occur?
I think this is just me personally. I
Yeah,
I think that the way the story is told, obviously there's you know, well, just case in point. If I tell you something and then you go tell the next person, and it's a line of communication, and by the time uh, you've probably told 15 people, and the 15th person down the line that received the message that I originally told from my end, being the first person, obviously, if I told it, it's going to be something different by the time it gets down to the 15th person. So what I mean to say is obviously there's some truth in what's been told, but it may not be the exact truth. I do know that as we call black people in this world, we are everywhere, and so we're not isolated to one particular spot, one particular location. We've been everywhere on this globe. So we being more of, you can say, the originators, if you will, or indigenous people, people of color, melanin people, we inhabited this earth a lot longer than some others. And that's not a statement of supremacy. That's not a statement of saying that we're better than anyone, but that's just a simple genetic fact. Louis Leakey, who was what was Leakey? Leakey, a scientist,
yeah,
was able to, find that in Lucy, and find
yeah,
out that, Lucy had been here uh, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of years. And so that's kind of the fact of the situation, brother.
yeah. So it is technically because I'm gonna break this down, and I don't definitely want to make this a object, but I'm gonna break this down by language. By
Yeah,
language,
yeah,
we speak English right
right,
now.
right,
South of us, they speak Spanish.
right,
English is a language from England, which is in Britain. Like Spanish is also a European in Spain. It's European. So
right,
is it possible that you had invaders that attacked a lot of people that lived in one place, um, did what they call colonialization or whatever we want to call it, found it, something that other people were at? Is it possible that that story was told a certain way? Because if you look at the names and the languages, African American, okay, so let's deal with that. How could you be an African American if people speak English but they not English American,
mm,
or a person is not a Spanish American? Like, you know
mm,
what I'm saying? Like, you have to look at the language, so you stop looking at the history and look at the past. His story is going to be different than actually the past. But yeah, bro, we're going to keep going into this, because I look at a whole lot of things that y'all went through was actually young people
right,
attempting to find the greatness within themselves and keep being stymied not only by their mind, by their communities,
right,
by a system set up by a lot of different things, So I want to get the true context on what it is. So yeah, King, I'm not gonna stop you no more, man. I want to get the whole story. Yeah, the whole story. The whole story, man. You got a lot of information um that's there. You have a great story. Bro, you could get a movie deal. No doubt. Seriously, by
right,
some of the things that have happened and occurred. Um, yeah, bro. Like it's amazing that you all are still here, man. I done seen y'all at rallies and places where people said no black people can come to.
right, right,
Yeah, like
right,
like yeah, bro. You been one on the field. We're not talking about somebody on the sidelines. Like,
right,
nah, bro. You done seen a lot. So I just want to bring more light to actually where you are were headed years
mm,
ago,
mm,
years ago. And I just want to bring light to it, and make sure it's known from a very, from that perspective of exactly what it is. Like, you wanted your brother to look human, not like an event that happened in somebody's life, and now somebody
exactly,
trying to reloop the vent to say, nah, that's not who we talking about.
Right,
Yeah,
right. Because when you look up Rakim Balagoon, and or you look up myself, Yafeuh Balogun, or you look up Eric Kafra, you look up Robert Taylor, or any of these other types of individuals, um, you know, there's a certain narrative. I think we was talking about it earlier. There's a certain narrative that's kind of written, especially about Rakim. And as you stated, we have to be able to claim our own narrative. So through platforms like this, we have an opportunity to really invest ourselves in communicating with the community, with our, the people that we may not have the opportunity to reach. So that if you read about Rakim, I want you to know that Rakim as a person is a very approachable person, a cool person, not this black militant type of individual that the state or that the government would try to say he is. Or he's a person that's giving back to the community. Has spent time in the community, particularly with children and elders, just as others have as well. So he's been very good and part of that process, and we appreciate him for his sacrifice. So that's why we honor him at this time.
sure. I say that is for sure, for sure. That is for
Hmm.
sure. Hey, bro. So what about your upbringing, man? Where you from?
Uh, I'm from the city, man. I'm from Dallas, man. I'm from Dallas, Texas. Born and raised. As I mentioned, I had a pretty good upbringing with my father, Abdullah Musi Shamsuddin, who I am forever grateful. Uh, my uncle Hassan Shamsuddin, Kenneth Goodson, uh, um, Uncle Donnie. Uncle Asadi, Shamsuddin, these individuals and their wives, my mother, of course, every one of those included, all played a significant role in my life, my cousins' lives, and it's more or less helped us be prosperous. But I'm from the city, man. I'm not like any other individual. I went to Adel Turner Elementary. I went to Skyline, got kicked out of Skyline. I got kicked out of
That's
Skyline. Had to
so,
go to Carter. And when I went back to Carter, I originally went to Skyline because my mother and my father said, we want to put him in a different environment than being around some of the neighborhood guys that he's more familiar with. And so I went to Skyline, and even though that's on the other side of the city in Pleasant Grove, guess what? May not be the same guys I went to school with, but in Pleasant Grove, there's something similar to that in Oak Cliff. So uh, got back, and like I said, about that time, you know, I guess I was about 17, 18. I really kind of got a little more conscious, if you will. A lot of folks use the word conscious liberally. That's kind of when I had my experience because of going through some things. But I had a good upbringing, brother. I'm very fortunate, very grateful. I can't really say anything bad about it. So that's what got me here.
yeah, man, your ancestors, bro, they all around you. Like they
Right.
rooting for you. Hey, bro, like nah, you got stuff different stuff rooting for you because of your decision, your choices. I don't
Hmm.
know what it is about your choices or your heart, but a lot of stuff that most people would be on, uh, you really had good intentions,
Hmm.
for
Hmm.
everything around. I ain't talking
Hmm.
about just what I seen, also what I know, bro. Like your
Right.
intentions are well. So, yeah, so on the next on the next move for you right now. I know you definitely man, you one of the most selfless people I know. So Rakim, I know what I'm about. Let me say this. This is a discussion I've had with some people here recently about black businesses.
Hmm.
God told me just recently. He said you can't have a a black business if you don't have the raw material, the manufacturing, and the production of a product, then it's not a
Hmm.
black business. If it's
Hmm.
made somewhere else, if it's manufactured somewhere else and it's produced, and the only thing that you are doing is selling the product, then you're a
Hmm.
sales. You're a salesperson. Yeah. So you know what I'm saying. So we had this conversation, and I was like, man, yeah, you know what? That could be true because every other people that's here in America, even Mexicans with a grocery store. They
Mm-hmm.
really do have connects where there's farms in Mexico that's growing oranges. You know what I'm saying? It's just growing different things or doing different things. So
Right.
you know, number one, do you think if you got a store in Oak Cliff, a grocery store, you the
Mm-hmm.
first black grocery store in Oak Cliff.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you got different shea butters that sister up the street make. It feel like a certain. You got all these different products. You got black people who grow vegetables. They're different things. All right, so you put them all in the store.
Mm-hmm.
Would you give a store or would you call that store black owned?
Well, for the purpose, so that people can relate to it, I would say if it's a black owner and it's in the black community, if you will, then I would say that that's a black store. Obviously, I go in the long run, and I speak in terms of this freedom movement that we're fighting, or this movement for self determination. Obviously, we want to be able to take it from the ground and work our way up into the store and so on and so forth. I think right now, to give a realistic view, Devontae Peters, who's the owner of Alkaline Hour in Oak Cliff, the Alkaline Hour. He has a space in Oak Cliff. He also has a space in Plano. That's just some of the things that he's battling right now, trying to cut out the middleman, actually be that independent black
Mm,
store. And so I think that's what we're saying. I think we want to be independent. And I so one of the things that I think that we have to struggle with in that process is not when we become businessmen and we become independent, let's not become independent and act just like some other folks do in the community, meaning so capitalistic, so exploitive to the community. As long as we avoid those and we treat Miss Betty well and we treat little Keisha and all those
yeah,
kids and whatnot with some
yeah,
respect in the process,
yeah,
so that they, when they come shop at our stores and have some dignity, not like how they treat us at Walmart. Now, you and I go to Walmart right now, we go buy some things, spend good money at Walmart, good hard earned money at Walmart. What happens when you walk out the door? There's somebody standing right there waiting for your ticket, or they're gonna make sure that you ain't stole nothing. But we normalize that,
yeah,
right? If they did that at Family Dollar, had somebody standing at the front door searching, checking your ticket, you probably have a problem. So I'm
yeah.
just saying, it's about at the end of the day, what's to me what's going to make it a black-owned store is good service and how we treat our people and make sure that they have some dignity. And I think that's important.
Hey, that's real. That's real. And I was gonna say that because I think Walmart is a great example that you brought up. They will check your ticket, but when we go to Walmart, we don't have an idea who own Walmart. The majority of
Right,
people they don't know it's a white owned store or
right,
this or that. Walmart doesn't care because they think globally. When I look
right.
at big ups to you brought up Devontae, man, big ups. Alkaline Hour could definitely be a global thing. We have to learn to look in our mind and not say black on. We want to be global. I
Right.
agree with the black on, but we need to be touching them. We are the teachers of the world, and we have forgotten that we have taught the world. Like, you know
Right.
what I'm saying? We have to put it in a context that is truly there. That is truly there. Hey, bro, but this is gonna be each one teach one, man. We're gonna start locking in definitely, definitely more, bro, because there's a lot of moves that we can make. And even myself, yeah, bro, there's a lot of moves from the ground roots that y'all been doing. There's a lot of things that we can set up and begin to do and have that same movement, the same order that y'all had way back then, but it can be way greater. Like
Mm.
we get these young people now, bro, that are hungry to know, that want to know, and they not gonna hear nothing else but the truth. They gonna kill anything else that it is. Like
Right.
they gonna keep talking about spit. We nothing will be able to stop this next generation but raw truth. Like raw truth. I work with a lot, bro. I look young. I won't even say their name right now, but you know, I'm with a group of young dudes. They rap. They do different stuff. One of them
Hmm.
say, "Damn bitch, damn bitch, you smart than a motherfucker." I said, "Bruh, a man ain't never called me a bitch." I had to tell myself. I say, "Bruh,
Yeah.
that has never happened." I
Right.
look. I say, "Bruh, I don't play like that. Like I don't do none of that." But
Right.
at the same time, when I talked to bro, I said, "Hey man, like." This is young dudes who grow up around their mama with a mama calling other girls bitches, and then they pass it down to the sons, and then they start saying it and thinking it's cool. Like to
Mm-hmm.
say, at some part we have to realize from ghetto to ghetto, city to city, it is
Mm-hmm.
only in our community where we greet each other with bitch or nigga. We greet
Mm.
each other in a disrespectful manner off top. So then you wonder why our cities and things are in shambles, but it's because of the way we treat each other, and then because we wasn't taught the same things that you said your daddy taught you a long time ago. Don't
Mm-hmm.
only leaves out our yard, go clean them out the neighbor yard too. You got to take care of the community.
Right. Right. That's square one, man. And I'll say my dad was very strict in that way, and a lot of things I didn't understand. But he first took me as a child, and that's why I heard Khalid Muhammad speak. I first heard Khalid Muhammad was through my dad, and then even though I didn't really understand it then, I was just kind of just there because he was there. At this time, I kind of value these experiences that I had as a kid, man. It's cool.
Yeah, that's real. So man, being from around the Muslim background, this is
Hmm.
one of the most controversial Muslim topics.
Okay.
Malcolm X and the Nation of Islam, bro. What's your perspective? Hey, I have to, I have to go there. God, hey, bro. Out of all the open conversations I be wanting to have, I be wanting to know. He started laughing. Throwing out stop.
Okay. I'll tell you my
Yeah,
truth. I'll tell you my truth.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I
Yo,
I have a great deal of respect for the local mosque here in 48, as far as Dallas, as far as the history is concerned, and whatnot, and the contribution that was made here. So it's obviously no tarnish on these brothers when I
yeah,
say, but I do personally believe uh, that members of the who call themselves members of the Nation of Islam at that particular time in 1964, early 1965, were attempting to assassinate Malcolm X. I absolutely believe that. Second to that, however, I do believe that the federal government was aware and allowed it to take place. So that's generally um, my perspective, my agreement on that, and that's because I know that, and when you create a religious group, you tend to create something called zealots. And these zealots are willing to do anything they can to, if they see their leader being attacked. Um, and I by no means think that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, or Elijah Muhammad, if you will, said go kill Malcolm. I think that these guys was just so loyal to what they thought was right. And
hmm,
I'm going to say this, that the vast majority of Muslims at that particular time that was in the Nation of Islam during that time, the vast majority of them ended up converting over to Sunni Islam, which
right.
totally contradicted everything that they was taught in the NOI. And so a lot of them, particularly Thomas Hayer, who was one of the admitted assassins, admitted that he was wrong. And his deposition, where he identified the five other shooters that were involved as well. And so, of course, there's a many documentaries that talk about it more or less in depth. And I absolutely believe, however, that they did play their part. But I believe that the FBI, the NYPD,
Play the
um,
part. They allowed it.
boss, they
Yeah.
played their part.
Yeah. Hey, bro, I've been one. Hey, I'm so happy. Hey, I appreciate you for touching on that because I feel like I want to get somebody that's definitely connected to my because a lot of the times you hear people talk about it, but it's
Mhm,
like such a sensitive topic because it brings so many different people in that have spoke on it, but
mhm,
like okayed it, and I'll be like, look, for our future generations to learn, they got to learn from the truth. So
mhm,
basically, what happened to Malcolm X, when you hear somebody saying, put him on a shirt, or you hear somebody saying things of this nature now, realize they did that way back then when Malcolm X passed. bro. They
Right.
was glorifying his death the very next day. This was way back then. This
Look,
this this wasn't in
even
2022.
even in my family, even in my own family, you had
Yeah,
that sort of s- kind of ideological split, if you will.
yeah,
My father personally chose to stay with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and so that was my father's position, right? But
yeah.
you had my uncle Asadi, my uncle Kenneth. They split and went with War of Deen in his position in the whole Sunni Islam position. So you had that dynamic. Then, if you look at Muhammad Ali, kind of what he was talking about originally, and you see what
He
ultimately
did
led to
too.
Muhammad Ali. He
Yeah.
left that position too, and so um yeah, and so that's just the that's just the fact of the matter. But of course, when you when you um when you first come into an experience, you have these certain beliefs. I know a lot of people when they come into conscience, the first thing they want to do is they want to tell everybody about it, and I look at it as that. But at the same time, let me just say this, just so people can have an understanding. By no means do I find that an Arabism, Islam through the face of Arabs or anybody in the Middle East, etc., is the expression that's for Black people. I don't believe that at all. I think just as you know any other path for you to find some sort of peace for yourself, that's the path that you can afford to take, just like any other path. So I know a lot of people tend to attack certain beliefs and whatnot. Some people attack Christianity, some people attack Buddhism, some people attack Islam or whatnot. I think that a person just for themselves has to find out exactly what works for them, and if it works for you, who am I to tell you any different? So I just wanted to say that I don't really favor one over the other than to say that Black people in America, etc., we need our own identity, and we need to be able to express our identity in a way that makes us independent, if you will. So we don't need other people to define that for us.
Right on, right on. I definitely agree. One
Yeah.
1,000, one
Right.
thousand, 1,000,
Yeah,
1,000.
yeah. I- a-
So so
as a
uh huh.
matter of fact, I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna get off for that. Uh, I'm gonna say this. There's this new movement of Black people here in this country, whether you agree or disagree, that's finding indigenous traditional spiritual systems in Africa as something that they can gravitate to. Whether you agree or disagree, I'm glad that folks are finding some positive images in something that comes from us originally without European or Asian interaction. And so I think that's cool.
Hey, and what you saying, bro, is so powerful because I did something talking about Confucius earlier,
Hmm.
which you would go back and say that that's a Chinese person.
Right.
But before this great reset that happened over 2,000 years ago, where they say that Jesus died on the cross for people's sins, and I don't knock the religions. Let me get to that. I don't
Right.
knock any religions, but I will say this. However, I will definitely say this. If the moment you limit yourself or you box yourself in and you say, I am this, now you have taken a stance that you have to stick with. Like, the scripture that they spit says, my people shall perish for a lack of knowledge. The
Mm.
first four letters of knowledge is K-N-O-W. No. No. So if we look at things from a perspective, if we gonna leave no stone unturned, we're not gonna claim one book. We're not gonna be liberal or conservative. We
Mm.
are not gonna do anything that puts us in a box. We done been in too many chains and shackles and all of that. We need to free ourselves from all of that. And as much as we can take in and learn, let's take that shit in and learn. Whatever can help build us, let's build. Let's
Mm.
build, let's heal. We done been through so much trauma. They didn't force rape, force us mate, rape each other. They didn't rape the people, the men, women, children. We done seen all of these things happen. Let's put everything out there on the table. Say, man, everybody that's here right now that have made it to this point, you have made it by miracles. You were supposed to be here. Somebody could have aborted you. The sperm might have not found. Man, it was millions of sperm cells every time a man ejaculates. How did you happen to be the one this here right? Like, you know
Right.
what I'm saying? Hey, we got to keep it real. How do we matter? You know what I'm saying? To be right here. As horny as we was, all the women that we done been around, how did she happen to be the one? Hey, man, it's a miracle within itself. Yafeuh, bro, I appreciate you coming up tonight, too, man. Like, Square Business, it is 44 minutes and 44 seconds when I just started talking, man. We got them 444s in the house, man. Like, hey, the ancestors, they with it. Bro, hey, I really do definitely appreciate you coming up. And man, like what else on the journey? Because I want to get back to your story, not just getting personal. Because I feel like, yeah, on the future ends, man, behind the scenes, I got a lot that I want to talk to you about anyway. Like a lot that I feel like from like this is a building stage. This is a building stage. We come and do this, but yeah, bro, it's a whole lot that you have. You have your feet planted. You have the experience. You have the experience. I haven't came here like, bro. Y'all done been around the running, getting into politics in the community. Y'all done been around every different thing that you have to do
I
to
think
start nation building. What's that?
I think locally, and that's just any part of the country, can afford to be very, pay attention to local politics. I think that's something that we can very do locally. If you just imagine, you may have some viewers from St. Louis, you may have some viewers from Miami, um, worldwide, global, as you stated, and especially here, particularly in the United States. If you get 3,000 votes in a local election, you can win any seat in almost every city I just named. Three
Three
thousand votes.
thousand.
3,000 votes, and
Wow.
all of a sudden, um, I mean, your cousin can be the representative. He don't necessarily have to have any experience. He just have to have these 3,000 people that say, "Hey, I want this brother to be the representative." All of a sudden, we put ourselves in a position of some power, in a position of to be able to bring to the community what we feel needs to be brought to the community. And so, I mean, that's all it takes. It's just to me, anybody that's telling us otherwise, not to engage, not to be involved in that, don't be politically active. That's somebody who's trying to throw us off. I don't think that there's any particular space. And I'm quoting
It's
Marvin E.
9 o'clock.
Crenshaw. I'm quoting Marvin Crenshaw, Marvin E. Crenshaw, who was original Black Panther Party here in Dallas, Texas, who helped initiate what we know as the 14-1 city government here in the city. He always say, "Don't ever concede a space." And so, with that stated, that's something right along where we're doing the training, right along where we're training ourselves about our culture and our history, things of that nature, and our identity and our desire to be independent. We need to be politically active in our community, especially locally. 3,000 votes, we can win anything.
Hey, real talk. Real talk. Real talk. Man, last thing I'm gonna get on, man. We didn't touch the chief. Man, make sure, man. Hey, I'm gonna go back after we get out of here. I'm gonna put because the video gonna go to YouTube and all that. So I'm gonna
Mhm.
make sure that we put any type cash app that we can put any type way for us to write the chief,
Mhm.
write it, any type information that we want to put there. We're gonna make sure we put that in the description.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying, for everybody to see. Because
Mhm.
yeah, and if we can go back, redo this again, and make sure our screen share, did whatever way we want to set it up. If there's
Mhm.
any type special things you want to do it, bro, tell me. We're gonna run it back. We're gonna do it and make them things happen. Because like this is the way. This is the only way to use the technology to where you technically don't have to move. Now they will censor and try to control even this form of communication. And then they'll say, hey, it's a disease 6 feet apart. Don't talk to the person next to you too either. Like it's how far you ever want to take this. Like it really can go there. It really can
Right.
go there if we choose to let it go there. To let it go
Right.
there. Yeah, bro. But man, bro, I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Appreciate you for coming up, man. It's like great energy. And past this. let's see. I was gonna ask you one more question. It was one thing that I wanted to bring up. One last thing. Oh, got you. Charleston White is from Fort Worth.
Mm-hmm.
He from Fort Worth. He from Fort Worth. Um, you can look at Charleston White and say radical change.
Mm-hmm.
And I look at it and I say a lot of times change does have to be radical.
Mm-hmm.
Like it doesn't have to be focused in a negative sense, but sometimes you have to be radical just to make people think about what you're saying, just to
Mm-hmm.
make people think about what's going on around them. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
times the mama might say, if the daddy go say, hey, clean up, the kids might just go do it. But if daddy ain't
Right.
around, the mama, my motherfucker, I'm tired of telling your goddamn ass. That might be what mama have to do. She got to cuss the kids out to get them to do something.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like a radical to get change, to get change. So, do you think, from your experience, the things that you have seen up into the age that you are now, is the change going to have to be radical, or could it take place being nice, or being politically correct? Could you be politically correct, or do you think it takes radical, really radical change, like a radical change of the mind? However, which way? You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Well, change is gonna happen either way, whether we want to or not. First and foremost, it just depends on how fast we want it to happen. If we continue to be um, nice about it and being politically correct, then it's gonna slow that process down. If we tend to be a little bit left of being nice, politically correct, then we're gonna speed the process up. And so that's essentially it in a nutshell. But when it comes to, if we're talking about the independence, if you will, that oftentimes we hear people discuss, we're not going to get that uh, being nice to Joe Biden. We're not going to get that being nice to Trump. We have to be able to define what exactly works for us as a people, and so I think that's what we're struggling with now. Now, whether it's our generation that does it, whether it's our kids, or it's 200 years from now, that sort of change eventually is going to happen, because it's only so long that you can keep your foot on a person's neck before they figure out, okay, how to get this person off of my neck. It's only gonna be so long. So it's just a matter of time. I think what we have to do in this generation is we have to make sure that we pass the tradition on, the oral tradition. We have to pass teach our kids the right and wrong, so that they can have a foundation and eventually continue to pass it on to when it gets to that point, to when we able to get some independence. So that's how I look at it. It's going to happen either way. So there's nothing anybody can do about it.
Hey, that's real talk. That's real talk. I don't know what better way to put a statement on it, man, because it's definitely gonna happen either way,
Right.
regardless. Whether
Either
people
way.
love it or don't like it, hey, it's gonna happen regardless. It's gonna happen regardless.
So
Yeah.
we just all we have to do
Hey, yeah,
all we have to do is just play our roles. And
that's it.
if that role means that you're politically active, then that's your role. You might not even be politically active. You might just be a person into music, hip hop, or whatnot. And maybe that's your role. You just have to make sure that you do your part, and we all find some sense and be able to work in cohesion where we can, and where we cross at, and we'll get somewhere. We'll pass it along, just like the other folks behind, but before us, pass it to us. And I know there's some disagreements with it between youth and elders, but we got it and we here. So let's continue forward.
Can we be that bridge between the youth and the elders, bro? I'm asking from me to you. I'm looking at you. Can we be that bridge?
I think I'm a bridge because
God body,
I, and,
God,
and and the
God
reason
body.
why I say that in my personal life, because a lot of the elders that I've had personal relationship, some have gone and passed on, or transitioned, if you will. Fahim Jabari Minka being one, Chukwue Lumumba being another, Malcolm Shabazz, the grandson of Malcolm X, being another. I mean, so I think of myself as a bridge because I'm constantly
You
connecting
you
back.
met you met Malcolm X's grandson?
Oh yeah, yeah. Malcolm X's grandson was a comrade, man, and yeah, we when he come to Dallas, we provide security for him or whatnot, and on some downtime, be talking personally with how we talking personally now. And unfortunately, in 2012, he was assassinated in Mexico City. Um,
Mm.
but yeah, he was a young brother that was attempting to walk in his grandfather's legacy, and so that's something that when you have that type of responsibility, or you feel like you're going to walk with that legacy on your back, there's certain things that certain processes you have to experience and go through. And so when he would come to Dallas, my group, uh, at that particular time, PLC, and then eventually Gorilla Mainframe would offer security for him and cover him or
So, bro,
whatnot, make sure good.
when your book coming out, man? When your book coming out, your movie? Hey, man, what's up with it, dog? Hey, yeah, I'm saying when is happening? We
Man,
got it. Hey, so for real, like there are like somebody I know,
hmm
they got a comic book
right.
where they kind of based and stuff still on the same thing, but they just make people comic characters, common characters. But they talk about these things like Malcolm X's grandson. See, this is the reason they don't really talk about Al Qaeda and all these crazy things. People would think, "Oh, this is crazy. This is movie like," but
hmm
they want to get rid of Saddam his seeds because they know for a fact there are certain genetics. There are certain codes passed down even in semen that your kids might come back and get somebody else's kids. Bruh, in Alabama where I graduated, man, I would hate to use these people last name, but I kid you not. People say it's like a generational curse, but one generation, they either murder or kill. The next generation, they either get murdered or they killing something. Like, and this is taking place, bro, for like the last 5 generations. Everywhere in the country town where they at, yeah, bro, they at some point they either murdering something or either getting killed. Like it's like a crazy thing. So that's why I did the generational curses thing last week. Because I
mm,
said it's not it's not that they the murder, it's the passing down certain habits or certain traits that is actually it's the person that's not stepping up and saying, hey, like that's not right. That's not correct. Chill. Like that's not the mode. Let's learn something different. The person that gets up and checks their family is the ambassador to their family. They
right.
are the ambassador to their family because whatever path they family was on, they derailed it. They said, hey man, like we can take it to another level. We've been here, but now it's
hmm
time to do something totally different. So even I look at you, bro, like you an ambassador. It is no doubt that you are an ambassador. You brought a new way. Yo, but you got some great, I don't know, bro. You got some great like people around. Like, man, like, see what I'm saying? The energy around you is even different. It's
But
like, it's
but it
like,
but
yeah,
it's only because I desire to have that relationship though. Meaning that I wanted to see. I think this that when we when we when we deal with other people, everybody has an experience, right? Everybody. You have an experience, your viewers have an experience, something that that I don't know that obviously you may have mastered. But it's obvious that you have more information than me about it. So when you're talking to me about something I don't know, what we have to learn how to do is to be humble. You know what I mean? And listen. And that's a skill. That's a skill. What that skill would do, that skill will, for the most part, keep them folks out your life. That's the first thing, because if you learn to listen and you'll learn how to move correctly, then you can
yeah.
probably avoid certain things, right? But also it affords you the ability to learn. So what I mean by that is when Akitunde Funzo, who's an elder member of the Black Panther Party, or Chukwue Lumumba, who was a founder of one of the founders of the Republic of New Africa, when they spoke to me, I didn't say, "Oh, I have these experiences. I know what you're talking about." Or I think I know what you're talking about. I was smart enough to listen. And that's the same thing when somebody trying to help you start a business, That's the same thing when somebody's trying to explain to you certain skills that they think that may be beneficial for you. If we can make sure that we just listen more than we speak, then there's a chance you'll get further than a lot of other people. That's just the way that I try to you know I try to move.
You, bruh, you hit it in the head. Somebody tried to. He said earlier. He said the word God. He don't want to use the word God.
Right.
Say, bruh. Say there's two different gods. There's a capital G, lowercase O D. Then it's a capital G, capital O, capital D.
Right.
I said the other day, you have the Lord self that is considered an animal part of God. The lower half. Then you have the higher half that is the higher self that's connected to God. The higher self is connected to everything else. The lower self is connected to temptation, lust. It's connected to all the other things that people call senses, sins, and all this other weird stuff. But it's guided by that. It's ran by the temptation, the lust, the hunger, the thirst is tempted by that. The higher self has no wants or nothing like it. It knows. It knows. These are two different things. So when you
Mm.
go into it and you say, yeah, God, you get on the frequency where we at now, bro. We are able to influence or change the people that they call black people, bro. If LeBron James, Michael Jackson, Michael Jordan, little baby, young NBA young boy, if all these people left America, there would be no entertainment. You know what I'm saying? It wouldn't be fun anymore. You know what I'm saying? Dave Chappelle went through whatever he went through for the comedy he threw out. But if he left, there would be no entertainment. Entertainment. So when you see all these laws, they're not even laws, they're policies. They're
Mm.
policies. When you see people go through all these different things, you realize this. There used to be peace officers. After peace officers, the corporations bought the peace officers. So
Mm.
they made policies. From those policies, you have police. They actually are paid to manage policy. So if you get pulled over for a stop sign, a ticket, these are policy enforcers. They enforcing law for rich people. For rich
Mm.
people. It's not
Mm.
made for poor people. You know what I'm saying? Like these are things that we have to look at, and once we know it, we can begin to build from a ground level because we were gifted something that a lot of people weren't. Like
Right.
sun doesn't bother you. You get information from the ethers, from the ethers.
Mm.
We have a lot of things pulling for us a whole different kind of way. It's just time to see it. Like see it, believe it, know it. We're gonna move it forward. We're gonna move it forward. So everybody I seen, bro, I say, man, y'all left me clues a long time ago when y'all didn't even know it. So I'm brought you up flowers while they're here. I gotta show
Appreciate it.
gratitude to brothers like you for real. Gotta
Appreciate
show
that.
gratitude. Yeah, hell yeah. Like, hey, it's real. Like around here, it's real. We're gonna show gratitude, man. We're gonna show love amongst each other. I'm not afraid to tell my bro, hey, I love you, brother. I'm not afraid to tell my, hey, rise up. I love you, sister. Like, that's the type of energy that we're gonna have to be on. And the youth, they on it anyways. They just fearless, but it's guided the wrong way. Like we was fearless, but we was fearless like, all right, it's time to wake up and show our people the new stuff we learned. We learned, nah, listen, that wasn't nobody hearing it. Wrong time, wrong time, wrong time, right thoughts. Wrong time, right thoughts. Now the time is right time. Period.
Right.
Period. 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 Hey, you the man in here though, man. Any closing thoughts we got for it tonight for real?
I appreciate you for giving me an opportunity and a chance to speak about my position, my personal position, some of my personal experiences, and giving the opportunity for me to speak to your viewers, and obviously, even greater opportunity to learn. Through some efforts after this communication that I see after this experience. So I want to thank you for that. In closing, I do want to say, if anyone have the time or etc., and have the ability, reach out to Rakim Balagoon. I'm going to share the flyer information with him. I'm sure he will put the information out. And if you can got some time to reach out to a brother, or if you know Rakim, reach out to him. He'd be happy to hear from you. And if you got a chance, an opportunity, share, send some books his way, because at this point in time, he's in deep study, and I'm sure he's working out almost on a daily basis. And also, just keep in mind this: at least here in the state of Texas, over 70% of the prison institutions right now are without uh, central air, and so um, especially for the so-called quote unquote nonviolent offenders, etc. That's something to be very concerned about, etc. That at this particular time, with it being over 100 degrees every day consistently, that's something that I think that everybody at least should be concerned about, especially that could be me. That could be many times I could have been sitting in that same position, and I'm sure your other viewers may have or could have potentially been in that situation. So um, just have that in mind. But again, I appreciate you for giving us the chance. I think I represent Rakim and Eric and Robert Taylor and other members of Gorilla Mainframe when I say that we thank you for this chance.
God body. God body, man. That's likewise, bro. It is reciprocated. Hey, them brothers, what they say from another month, man. And I've been thinking about that too, bro. Why do they call this? The last thing I'm gonna say to you tonight, bro. We gonna get it done, bro. Why do they say God and they say Father? Like the first thing the baby know is the mama is looking for the titty. Why do
Right.
we associate God only with the male aspect, but not the feminine aspect of life?
That's because we are looking at God from a Eurocentric perspective. As I was stating, at least in my opinion, Islam, Judaism, Christianity are predominantly the Abrahamic religion, and these are religions is about power, exerting about God exerting power over the individual. So, uh, so God is more of like a all powerful thing that you can't cross. Think about it in the sense that who was that? I'm not a very biblical person, but God, I think it was Abraham. I think it was Abraham. God asked Abraham to sacrifice his son, and then at the moment that he was about to sacrifice his son, what did he do? He changed his mind. Like in these Abrahamic religion,
Yeah,
God take you through that. Or if you look at Job, how Job lost everything. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Job lost all this in this particular position, in this particular religion, God takes you through that. And so this is a very Eurocentric view, is what I'm trying to say, of God versus the African traditional experience, where in something that comes from us, we got a oh yeah. You know what I mean? The woman can be deity. You know what I mean? So that's just different perspectives, and I think that if we have a chance to check the clean glass versus the dirty glass, and I think the dirty glass is a Eurocentric glass, and the clean glass is something that's more natural to us, I think we'll start leaning towards more, Afrocentric viewpoints on God, and I think that's what we should do.
that's real talk. So the Afrocentric reality really dealt with a duality. It didn't deal with one fixation.
Exactly.
We
Exactly.
go. Here we go. Here we go. So it dealt with the man and feminine together. Together.
Balance.
Yeah,
Balance.
balance. There we go. I demand balance. All right, yeah, all right. Yeah, we dealt with that. Word life. Hey, brother. Hey, once again, bro, we appreciate you coming up tonight, man. Y'all make sure y'all share, subscribe. We're gonna put the chief story down in the description. Please follow that. Please follow that man. Like, follow that man. Like, we're gonna take care of our brothers and our elders and our children. We're gonna take and the men for sure. We're gonna take care of them too. Like, there ain't no doubt. And all the issues with the women and the men, the back and forth, we're gonna deal with those issues as well. Like definitely. Hey man, we even spoke on that earlier. On that earlier. Now we're gonna get to that later. Man, me and my brother, we're gonna talk behind the scenes real quick because I got other people popping up, man. But until then, hey man, one love. Appreciate you. Yafeuh Balogun for coming up, King. And yeah, man. Hey, yeah. Anything else to say to the peeps?
Power to the people.
Power to the people.
That's
Like
it.
that. Like
That's it.
that.
That's it.
Yeah. We out of there, bro. Already, man. Good pull up, man. Squad biz.
Appreciate it, brother. Appreciate you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.